Your value is not proven by how constantly you stand before a man. It is revealed by the silence your absence leaves behind when you walk away. And if you keep pouring yourself out to avoid being forgotten, you may wake up and discover you were seen every day and still never truly cherished. Most people believe love grows through constant contact. They believe more texts mean more closeness. More explanations mean more understanding. More availability means more security. They fail because what they call love is often anxiety wearing perfume. It looks tender, it feels urgent, but it is fear. You know this pattern. You answer too fast, you excuse too much. You stay too reachable. You become the emotional emergency room for a man who has not yet decided whether he is building with you or merely benefiting from you. And while you call it patience, your spirit feels the cost. Weeks become months. Months become years. Energy leaks. Standards soften. Self-respect bends a little more each season. Now, here's the truth. A man can enjoy your presence and still not understand your value. He can admire your kindness and still treat it as background music. He can talk to you every day and never confront the question of what life feels like without you in it. That is why so many good women become exhausted. Not because they have too little love to give, but because they keep giving it in a form that hides its worth. If a diamond were scattered like gravel on every roadside, men would walk over it without lifting their heads. If a lighthouse dimmed itself to blend into the storm, ships would not feel safer. They would be lost. The common mistake is simple. You think constant access creates certainty. Often it creates familiarity without reverence. And familiarity without reverence is where value goes to die. Men need absence to know you're the one. That is the thesis. Carry it with you, not as a trick, not as manipulation, not as some childish game of withdrawal, but as a law of human perception. People do not always understand the worth of what is always available. What is always available is often assumed. What is assumed is rarely protected. What is rarely protected is eventually mishandled. So what will change in you today is not your ability to make someone miss you. That is too small. What will change is your relationship with your own presence. You will stop offering yourself like a discount. You will stop turning devotion into overexposure. You will understand that healthy distance is not punishment. It is revelation. And when that shift happens, you stop asking, who will choose me? And you start asking, who has proven they can recognize what stands before them? Honor the silence. Most people think if the connection is real, it must be constantly fed with words. But here is the truth. A real connection is not weakened by a little silence. It is exposed by it. Silence is not the enemy of what is true. Silence is the mirror. Consider Edwin C. Barnes when he saw Thomas Edison. He did not arrive as a beggar asking to be carried into greatness. He came with a decision in his bones. For a season, he worked in the shadows. No applause, no grand title, no instant proof that Edison saw him as a future partner. But Barnes did not dance for attention. He held his position. He let his steadiness speak. And when the moment came, Edison did not merely notice a worker. He recognized a man whose inner certainty had been there all along. That is how value works. Not like fireworks, like a blade being sharpened in quiet. Like bricks laid one by one where no crowd is clapping. Like an architect drafting a blueprint before the skyscraper rises into public view. The untrained eye only respects what is loud. The mature eye learns to revere what is solid. So do this today. Take 5 minutes before you answer the next message that pulls at your emotions. Not 5 minutes to play hard to get. 5 minutes to hear yourself. Ask one question. Am I responding from peace or from fear of losing access? If the answer is fear, wait. Let silence do what panic never can. Let silence reveal. Withdraw the performance. Many people think they are being loving when they over-explain, over-give, and over-perform. The truth is simple. Performance is not intimacy, it is audition. And an audition always places your worth in someone else's hands. Look at Helen Keller. The world could have decided her life would be confined by what she lacked. But what transformed her existence was not desperate pleading for acceptance. It was disciplined awakening. It was the refusal to let limitation write identity. With Anne Sullivan, she learned to build meaning from within before the world knew how to receive it. That is power, not begging to be understood. Becoming so anchored that understanding eventually has to catch up. Too many people in love do the opposite. They become paintbrushes flailing across a canvas with no vision. They splash effort everywhere and call it devotion. They send the extra paragraph. They make the extra excuse. They offer the extra chance. They keep curving themselves into a shape the other person might finally approve. But a person who must be convinced by your endless performance is not recognizing your essence. They are consuming your labor. Absence does not create love. It reveals it. If he cares only when chased, that is not depth. If he remembers you only when entertained, that is not vision. If your withdrawal exposes indifference, then your overpresence was never creating closeness. It was only covering truth. So do this today. Write down 3 places where you have been performing instead of relating. Maybe it is the constant reassuring. Maybe it is explaining your standards away. Maybe it is always initiating what should be mutual. Name those 3 places. Then stop one of them for the next 7 days. Not to punish him, to free yourself. Leave room for pursuit. Now here's the truth. Pursuit is not about gender theatrics. It is about investment. Whatever a person moves toward with intention, they understand more deeply. Whatever they must rise to meet, they value more clearly. What costs nothing is often held lightly. Think of the Wright brothers. 2 bicycle mechanics in a world full of louder men. No vast funding. No easy certainty. No crowd telling them flight was near. They kept testing angles, wind, failure, structure. They did not wish a machine into the sky. They met reality with disciplined pursuit. And because they pursued, they understood. Because they understood, they mastered. Because they mastered, the world changed. A relationship is not an airplane, but the principle is near enough to touch. You cannot let a man drift into the deepest place in your life without ever asking whether he can rise to it. You cannot hand him the emotional harvest when he has never tilled the field. You cannot build the entire bridge, then call it partnership because he walked across it. Here's the thing. History remembers a few. It remembers the ones who moved with purpose, not the ones who lounged in convenience. A river gathers momentum because it moves. A muscle grows because it is trained. A magnet draws iron because force exists within it. If a man is never required to move with clarity, he may enjoy your presence and still never know your weight. So do this today. Stop filling every gap. If he says he wants you, let action become language. If he says he values you, let consistency become proof. Ask yourself this one severe question. What has he built to reach me? If the answer is vague, stop calling vagueness commitment. Build a life of weight. Many people think the way to become unforgettable is to center their entire life around the person they want. But here's the truth. Nobody truly reveres a life that has abandoned itself. A woman becomes unforgettable when her life has gravity, when she is not a ship without a sail drifting toward whoever waves from the shore, but a vessel with direction, structure, and destination. Andrew Carnegie understood this in another domain. He did not merely collect wealth. He built systems, libraries, institutions, habits of expansion. He moved with the mind of a builder. Not because money was magical, but because organized purpose changes the force of a life. A scattered life asks for attention. An organized life commands it. When your world has no center, you make a man the center. Then every delay feels like danger. Every change in tone feels like prophecy. Every late reply becomes a courtroom trial in your mind. You wake into a fire hose of thoughts the moment your eyes open. What did he mean? Why has he not answered? Did I say too much? Did I not say enough? That is not love. That is internal vacancy looking for a tenant. Men need absence to know you're the one. And absence does not only mean physical distance. It means he must encounter the fact that your life is not parked outside his door waiting for instructions. You have a mind to develop, a body to strengthen, a calling to obey, a garden to tend where thoughts are soil and discipline is water. You have mornings to protect, work to complete, peace to maintain. And when your life carries that kind of weight, absence stops looking like a tactic and starts looking like truth. You were busy becoming. So do this today. Audit your week. How many hours have been shaped around someone else's uncertainty? How many around your assignment? Take 1 hour back tonight. Read, train, pray, study, build, create. Lay 1 brick for your own future, then do it again tomorrow. Test consistency, not chemistry. The modern world worships spark, immediate pull, excitement, intensity. But the truth is simple. Chemistry can start a fire that discipline refuses to maintain. A spark can light a room. It cannot build a home. Look at Abraham Lincoln. His greatness was not a mood. It was a tested interior. He endured defeat, grief, slander, delay, and pressure severe enough to bend lesser men into bitterness. Yet he returned again and again to principle, not perfectly, but steadily. That is why history trusts him, not because he felt strong every day, because he could recover his center. Too many people choose by chemistry and suffer from inconsistency. A man speaks with charm. He creates excitement. He says the right phrases. And because the moment feels alive, you crown him in your imagination before his character has stood trial. But a lighthouse in a storm is not judged by how beautiful it looks in sunlight. It is judged by whether it still stands when waves hit. Pause, count yourself in error the moment you stop testing consistency. That line may sound harsh, but it will save you years, not because you must become cold, because you must become clear. Anyone can sound sincere in comfort. Who becomes he under pressure? Who becomes he in delay? Who becomes he when your standards inconvenience him? That is the measure, so do this today. Name 3 things you require beyond chemistry. Maybe it is consistency. Maybe it is emotional responsibility. Maybe it is follow-through. Maybe it is faithfulness to word. Write those three things down, then judge actions by them for 30 days. Not feelings, not fantasies. Actions become your own evidence. Now here's the truth. The deepest reason absence works is not because it creates ache in another. It is because it heals confusion in you. Distance clarifies. It separates hunger from compatibility. It separates loneliness from love. It separates hope from evidence. Ray Kroc did not build a global empire by being enchanted with a moment. He recognized systems, patterns, repeatability. He understood that success is not a lucky spark, but a structure that can hold under repetition. That mindset belongs in your personal life too. Do not ask only, does this feel good today? Ask, can this hold weight tomorrow? Too many people ask a relationship to become proof that they are worthy. That is why they cling. That is why they bargain. That is why they panic at distance. Because the relationship has become a courtroom, and every interaction feels like a verdict. But no verdict from another human can create what you refuse to claim within. Before the world believes in you, you must believe in yourself. Validate begins within. Say it until your nervous system stops arguing. Validation begins within. The world can confirm. It cannot originate. A man can appreciate you. He cannot define you. A relationship can bless your life. It cannot become your life. So do this today. Stand before a mirror and say one sentence aloud. I do not chase proof of my worth. I bring worth with me. Say it until your face stops looking like it belongs to a stranger. Say it until your shoulders settle. Say it until your own voice sounds like authority. Protect what is sacred. Many people think love means unrestricted access. No gates, no pacing, no standards, no consequences. But here's the truth. What is sacred must be protected or it will be handled casually. A temple with no doors becomes a marketplace. Consider Walt Disney. Before the kingdoms, before the icons, before the empire, there were setbacks, bankruptcies, ridicule, closed doors, and seasons when vision looked foolish to practical men. Yet he protected the inner image. He held the blueprint when the building was still invisible. He did not throw his imagination into the hands of every doubter and ask them to approve it before he proceeded. He guarded it until it had form. That is wisdom for the heart. Not everyone gets immediate access to your depths. Not everyone gets the late-night vulnerability. Not everyone gets your endless compassion while giving nothing but ambiguity. A blade is sharpened with care. Fire forges steel through process. Anything powerful requires containment while it is being formed. Men need absence to know you're the one, because absence creates perspective, and perspective reveals whether he seeks your soul or merely your convenience. If your boundaries offend him, he was never preparing to honor you. If your standards awaken him, you may finally be dealing with a man who can perceive value. So do this today. Choose one boundary you have been afraid to enforce. Name it, claim it, keep it. No long explanation, no trembling apology. A standard does not need a speech, it needs a keeper. And behind every one of these principles lies one inner force, not mystery, not manipulation, not romance in the childish sense, self-possession. What all of these rules share is not distance for distance sake. It is inner government. It is the ability to remain rooted in your value whether you are being pursued, ignored, admired, or misunderstood. Self-possession is why silence works. Self-possession is why withdrawal clarifies. Self-possession is why standards stand. Self-possession is why a life gains gravity. A person who possesses themselves does not hand the steering wheel of their peace to every passing mood. They do not become weather. They become climate. Here's the thing. History remembers a few. It remembers those who ruled their inner world before they ever ruled circumstance. Marcus Aurelius sat in imperial noise and still wrote as a man who understood that the throne of the soul is either occupied by wisdom or seized by chaos. He knew what many still refuse to learn. You cannot keep begging the world to organize a mind you have left ungoverned. So hear this slowly. Comparison is a thief that robs you of joy and clouds your mind. The moment you compare your path, your pace, your relationship, your timing, your beauty, or your becoming to someone else's highlight reel, you abandon your own post. You leave your own garden untended. You stare across the fence while weeds grow at your feet. Validation begins within, not after he chooses you, not after he commits, not after he posts you, not after someone else loses sleep over your absence. With enter. At the private chambers where your beliefs speak before your mouth does. You are the center of your universe. Never forget it. That is not arrogance. It is responsibility. You cannot live in alignment if you keep placing strangers on the throne of your mind. You cannot hear intuition while handing a microphone to insecurity. You cannot love with dignity while worshiping approval. Pause, you must reclaim the throne of your own mind. And before the world believes in you, you must believe in yourself. Before a man can sense your depth, you must stop apologizing for it. Before someone can respect your pace, you must stop rushing your own healing. Before love can feel like home, you must stop treating uncertainty like destiny. This is where the whole lesson turns. It is no longer about what he does. It is about who you are becoming. You are becoming a woman who does not confuse access with intimacy. You are becoming a woman who can sit in silence without inventing rejection. You are becoming a woman whose peace is not rented out by the hour. You are becoming a woman with inner architecture, with beams and foundations, with a blueprint stronger than panic. You are becoming the kind of person whose absence speaks because her presence was never cheap. When that happens, something remarkable unfolds. The wrong people feel less powerful. The right people become easier to recognize. Your conversations grow cleaner. Your standards sound calmer. Your body stops carrying the fatigue of constant emotional overreach. You laugh more honestly. You sleep more deeply. You choose more wisely. Because you are no longer trying to be unforgettable to someone who has not learned how to see. You have become unforgettable to yourself. Absence does not create love. It reveals it. If he steps forward with clarity, good. If he disappears when access becomes measured, better to know. If he rises to meet your standards, pay attention. If he resents your dignity, let the resentment teach you what attraction was trying to hide. Truth is mercy when it arrives early. One day you will look back at this version of yourself. The one who almost over-explained again. The one who almost bent one more time. The one who almost traded inner peace for mixed signals. And you will feel gratitude that you stopped. Gratitude that you let silence speak. Gratitude that you let standards stand. Gratitude that you let absence reveal. Men need absence to know you're the one. Not because your worth begins when you leave, because the noise ends when you do. And in that silence, truth finally has room to speak. So decide now. Stop waiting. Stop making excuses. Start becoming. Decide your value. Guard your peace. Choose with clarity. And as you do, your future has already begun to change. Your mornings are quieter now. Your standards are cleaner now. Your presence carries weight now. The people meant for your life approach with more honesty now. The confusion that once ruled your heart has already begun to lose its throne. You do not beg to be chosen. You are recognized. You do not plead for consistency. You require it. You do not shrink to keep attention. You stand, and attention must rise if it wishes to meet you. Pause men need absence to know you're the one. And more importantly, you need stillness to remember that you were never waiting for permission to become priceless. Reclaim the throne. Absence reveals what endless access conceals. You lose your value when you keep proving it. Science is not rejection when it exposes the truth. A real bond does not fear healthy distance. Over-explaining is often anxiety dressed as love. If he only cares when chased, he does not understand your worth. Your life must have gravity beyond romance. Do not build a bridge he never intended to cross. Chemistry can start fire, but character keeps it warm. A woman with standards does not need long speeches. What is always available is often taken for granted. Love is not performance. It is mutual recognition. Distance heals confusion in the disciplined heart. You cannot be cherished where you are casually handled. A boundary is a gate, not an apology. Your peace is too expensive to rent out cheaply. Self-possession changes every relationship you enter. Validation begins within and radiates outward. Comparison robs joy before love ever arrives. You were not made to audition for devotion. A man's words matter less than his repeated actions. Do not confuse attention with intention. The right person rises to meet your standards. The wrong person resents the very dignity you need. Absence does not create love, it reveals it. Stop filling every gap with your own energy. A life with purpose becomes naturally magnetic. Silence lets truth speak without interruption. You become unforgettable when you stop abandoning yourself. Standards protect what feelings alone cannot. Before he sees your worth, you must honor it. Your presence carries weight when your life has direction. Do not beg for clarity that discipline can reveal. You are not difficult, you are discerning. Reclaim the throne of your own mind. When you disappear, he understands. Absence reveals the real truth. He missed you too late. Why distance changes everything. Stop chasing. Start becoming. His motivations, mindset, self-worth shorts. Real self-worth, healing motivation. TikTok, mindset, relationship, self-respect. There comes a moment in every life when a person must stop confusing constant access with genuine value. This video is built around one central truth. Men need absence to know you're the one. In a calm but urgent Napoleon Hill-inspired voice, this message explores why overgiving, over-explaining, and over-availability often hide worth instead of revealing it, and why self-possession, standards, and inner peace change the way love is recognized. Through the quiet logic of honor the silence, withdraw the performance, leave room for pursuit, build a life of weight, test consistency, not chemistry, become your own evidence, and protect what is sacred. The listener is guided from emotional exhaustion into personal authority. Men need absence to know you're the one becomes not a tactic, but a philosophy of dignity, clarity, and self-respect, reminding you that absence does not create love, it reveals it.